is Adam Vinatieri, 4-time Super Bowl champion kicker with the Patriots and the Colts. Adam, appreciate you joining us this afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. My pleasure.
Okay, before we start reminiscing and talking about snow kicks and Super Bowls and all the glory days in New England, I need to ask you, they're voting or they're announcing Thursday night the class for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. How much would it mean to you if you got the call to Canton this week?
Well, it'd be amazing. Obviously, it'd be a lie for us all to say we don't think about it. It's not in my mind. It's no big deal. I mean, that's obvious. At this point, after post career, this whole process this year, just getting nominated and getting making it through a couple of the cuts and making it to the finals is an amazing thing. And I mean, hold my breath, obviously, but there's no guarantees at this level. I mean, everybody that's in the top 15 are definitely worthy and probably rightfully so. So, we'll see. I don't know what the expectations should be, but I'm very optimistic.
The expectation should be that you should just walk right in.
Yes.
Right now. And so
Yep.
I know one of the voters, I can't say with 100% certainty, but I feel pretty good about your chances, buddy. And hey, thanks for joining us, man. We got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend, obviously, Adam, and we're going down memory lane for the next 4 days over the 4 Super Bowls I played in, and you and I played in our first Super Bowl together in 1996. And I remember you joining the team. You were just you played for the Admirals, right? You played for the Amsterdam Admirals in the NFL Europe,
right.
And you were just finished that season, and then you were in our training camp. I think kind of fighting position out with Matt Barr. And so you and I got to go to the Super Bowl, in my second year, your first year. But what do you remember about coming here in '96, competing with Matt Barr, Parcells as our coach, and us going to the Super Bowl? Just that year. Do you have many memories of that season, and just your thoughts on how you felt when you first got here?
Yeah, I think it was, as a rookie from South Dakota, like you said, a rookie free agent. Not a whole lot of expectations for me. I think for me, it was more of a stressful year, just trying to stay on the team, not to screw up, just do everything right that you could. And, amazing that we made it all the way to the Super Bowl. We obviously had a really good team, some really good older veterans that led the way. And, I don't know about you, but as a rookie, make it all the way to the Super Bowl, I'm sitting there going, well, that's not that big of a deal. We'll be back again next year. And little did I know, I was pretty naive. It was very difficult to get back to the Super Bowl and win one of those. So I didn't realize how blessed I was just one, first to make a team, and number two, for our team to make it all the way to the Super Bowl was pretty amazing the first year.
Hey, I got to ask you, sorry, Fitzy, real quick, just your tackle on Herschel Walker. Adam Bledsoe was sending out that video of that the other day to me and his brother. He'd found it, and just chasing down Herschel Walker. Do you get people remembering that play a lot?
Ironically enough, that was the one that all my newish teammates that weren't playing back in 1996, the last decade or so, those were the guys that would dig up the old dusty VHS that was grainy, and they would go, "Holy cow, look at Vinatieri, man! You actually were kind of fast back then." They give me a little bit of guff, and so probably the most athletic play of my entire football career, because I wasn't just a kicker; I was a football player that particular play, I guess. But it was. People still bring it up and mention it every once in a while, and that's one of those good memories, right?
Great memory. Kidding me? Go ahead, Fitz.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Adam, because I remember when you did that watching back in '96, and then I had hope that you were actually going to track down Desmond Howard on the kick in Super Bowl 51.
He got clipped.
Yeah, Ted, exactly. I was watching the highlight of it this morning on Good Morning Football, and I see number 95 blocking you in the back. Well, I'm letting out 4-letter words in the living room, like, I can't believe Vinatieri got clipped on that play. Anyway,
you and me both, and I was looking back thinking that there maybe be a flag on the ground, but at that point there wasn't any. I don't think they didn't think I was going to catch him. Maybe they didn't want to pull the flag out of their pocket, but that was a different beast. Desmond was all of those guys are amazing athletes that can do that, but it was bittersweet. Obviously the one against Dallas and Herschel Walker, that was a good one. The Desmond Howard one stings a little bit for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are some signature plays in your New England history that were
A few.
as big, if not bigger. And obviously, Bill Belichick even said that the kick in the Snow Bowl was the most difficult and probable kick in NFL history. But I've always wondered, which kick hurt more to make? Was it the Snow Bowl kick or the kick against the Titans in January 2004? When it was 0 degrees actual, negative wind chill, and people said their beers froze from the concession stand on the walk to their seats in the 300s.
Yeah, that game was really, really cold. I mean, throughout my career, I played in a handful of different blizzard games and stuff like that, but I think that one may have been the coldest one ever. And the irony of it is one of the guys for the Titans came to Indy and played with me there, and we discussed that game years later, and he was talking to me about it. He's like, man, it was so cold. We didn't even care if we won. We just wanted to get the heck back in the locker room and get, thaw out a little bit. So that was a mentally tough game, if nothing else. And yeah, that was one of those. Thank God for the hot seats and the bleach, the parkas that you throw across your chest and across your legs and keep the heat in. And honestly, at games like that, I didn't do too much kicking in the net. That was stay there, hover by the heater, stay as warm as you can, and then do the best you can when you get out there. But yeah, I do recall that game, and that game was dang cold. And I remember us all kind of like looking at the clock, counting down the seconds and the minutes, going, all right, we're going to win. Let's get the heck back inside. So there wasn't a lot of handshakes after the game. I think everybody ran right to the locker room after that one.
We're talking with Adam Vinatieri, 4-time Super Bowl champion kicker with the Patriots and Colts here on WEEI Afternoons. Adam, I wanted to ask you about your approach or your mentality, because obviously you have some of the most notable pressure-packed field goals in NFL history, none bigger than the kick in the Snow Bowl to send it to overtime, but also game winners in Super Bowls, dome, snow, wind, cold. Were you a modern guy, sports psychology, positive thoughts? Did you avoid negative thoughts? Were you, blank-minded? Like, what was your approach pre-kick?
Well, I'll take it all the way back to being a kid, right? I think a lot of people enjoy the pressure moments, and other people probably don't care for it too much. Every sport that I played, I tried to be, in the mix, right? So if I was playing soccer, I was a center midfielder. If I was playing baseball, I was either pitching or catching, because I always wanted to have either the ball in my hand or an opportunity to make a play at the end of the game that would potentially help us win. So for me, I can't say that I always enjoyed and loved pressure. Obviously, if you ask me, would you rather win by a game-winning kick or would you want to win by 35 points? I would say, let's win by 35 points, and we can be waving at our family in the crowd and having a good time and relaxing a little bit. But I do think that as a kicker, obviously, you better be prepared for those last-minute situations, because a lot of times, the parity of the league and how good teams are, it seems like it comes down to, a field goal more times than not. So I guess for me, I never really shied away from it. I just wanted to prepare myself and always told myself at the moment, hey, you've practiced for this moment. How many times on a field in the middle of July when no one was around, how many times did you kick that same kick? So I guess for me, I would just try to block out the noise, block out the circumstances and just really try to, be in my little world, right? I always say my little 3 feet by 3 feet, my little yard box here that I can't block, I can't snap, I can't hold, but I assume all those guys around me are going to do their job and not really think about the rest and just really kind of, rely on the process and your technique and do everything right, hopefully, right? Just head down, keep your, once you make impact and contact on the ball and it's gone, then you can look up and either celebrate or sigh, I guess. But for me, it was really try not to think about the circumstances, because it seemed like playing for the Patriots, we were in a lot of circumstances, right? We were in a lot of game-winning championship games. So you just had to really just think about, like Belichick always used to say, just do your job, right? Just focus in on what you can do and not worry about everybody else. And when your number's called, go out there and do your job.
I think you had something. I read somewhere you had like 46 or 48 game-winning field goal kicks where you had to go out there, you did it, and no one. I think what you just put us all at ease. Your overall demeanor, you just always put us at ease. All right, I got two questions in my brain right now. I just don't, Adam, you left. I'm going to lean into this one. You left the Patriots after the 2005 season. You went and played for the Colts, for crying out loud, for 2 more years.
Oh, Ted,
I thought you would. I just thought you would be a Patriot your whole life, but you go play with Peyton, and you actually end up having a longer career in Indianapolis. I mean, you won a Super Bowl with Peyton. Just your career as a whole. I mean, you got to play the last 12 years indoors, which I know you probably liked that a little bit. But just, did you always want to be a Patriot? Were you okay with how everything turned out? I don't know how you couldn't be, but was it hard for you to leave here and go to a new team and start there? And what was your experience like, just being the kicker you were there for 12 years?
Yeah. So I was super blessed, just even having an opportunity to. Mike Sweatman was the special teams coach that was following me over in Amsterdam and said, "Hey, we think we might want to add you to our roster," kind of thing. And so I was just so blessed to get that call and to come out to New England, out to the East Coast, and be a part of our team out there. In a million years, I would have never thought we would have the success and be able to say we were 3 times, world champs, 3 and 4 years, that kind of stuff, right? And so, honestly, I had no want to leave at all. The way the negotiations and all that crazy stuff went down, that's a whole story in itself. I'll write a book about this someday, and it will be a bestseller, not because I'm a good writer, because it's a damn good story, and it'll blow a lot of your minds on how it went down.
I would love to hear it someday.
I had absolutely no intentions on leaving. I kind of got backed into that corner a little bit, so to say, and so the Colts did everything right. I mean, they courted me. They sent me, I just wanted a multi-year contract. And at that point, with New England, I got franchised multiple times and never saw free agency until after my 10th year in the league. If you can believe that, Ted, 10 years, never saw free agency. Wow. So it came down to, this is what I was hoping for. They didn't want to do that. And so we found other people that did. But in saying that, no, there's zero hard feelings. I've had a wonderful conversation with Mr. Kraft about it and this past year. And I think some of it he didn't even know, to be honest with you, on how the negotiation went down and how everything went. So we had a wonderful conversation about it. I feel really good about it. I think he does as well at this point. But moving forward, if I had to leave New England and had to make a decision, a very tough, tear-felt situation on leaving the New England Patriots, the Colts was the next best situation. And, once I got here, they opened, they were open-armed. They were really, really good. And I, looking back at it now, I have no regrets. It worked out very well for me, playing another 14 years in Indy here and winning the Super Bowl and playing with, like you mentioned before, Peyton Manning and Edge and Marv and some of these great players as well. It was a blessing that, it could have went a different way, but it worked out pretty well in the end. But like I said, I'm going to write a book about this, and I think it will blow people's minds just on how that worked out. Because I've met a lot of New Englanders that are like, "How could you leave?" And I'm like, "You don't even understand." And I wish you did. And if you had 30 minutes and a couple of beers, we could talk about it, and I'll blow your mind.
Adam, I want to write the foreword. Adam, can I write the foreword of your book?
And
you bet.
Okay,
absolutely.
Good.
I'm guessing a central character in that book will be named Bill Belichick. You weren't the well, I guess maybe you were the first Super Bowl hero backed into a corner, but he certainly went down that road with Tom Brady. Those two have made up. I listened to a podcast with them last night. I'm wondering, do you have a relationship with Bill Belichick? Have you talked to Bill since you left? Where does that stand?
I have. Yeah. No, I definitely have. We've had conversations a few different times, actually. I respect the heck out of him, obviously. I mean, I still think he's probably never met Vince Lombardi. It's some of these older coaches, obviously, but modern day era, Bill Belichick is my number one. Like, I would say he's the best coach I've ever been around as far as getting guys prepared to play, as far as just a mastermind with X's and O's, just everything about that, right? So I don't have any regrets as far as that's concerned at all. I think the professional side of it, we both, are in a good place with that. Just the contract negotiation stuff. I wasn't the only one. And I don't even want to say it's just him. I mean, obviously the general manager, Scott Pioli, was there as well. There was a lot of different stuff that went on during that time. And I'm not the only one.
I'm writing a book too, Adam. I'm writing a book too.
It's a series of books.
Yeah, I'm writing a series of books. You and me writing a bunch of books.
Yeah, and I'm going to write. And I'm going to write a book called "Thank God Vinatieri Didn't Make the Game-Winning Kick in the 2006 AFC Championship," because it would have ripped my heart out. Adam, I was one of the Pats fans that was yelling at other Patriots fans and got mad back in 2012 when you returned, and there were some fans in the stands giving you some guff and whatever else. And it was just obviously you respect the passion of the fans as well, but a living legend in New England for sure. I just wanted to ask.
I love that, actually. It makes a lot of sense that they do that stuff. You know, it was ironic. It was kind of funny because McAfee was my holder / punter for the Colts at the time, and he's yelling back at him, kind of saying, "Oh, Vinatieri, he sucks. Come on now, like, come on, right?" But throwing it back at him a little. I'm using PG words, obviously, instead of the R words that were being said at the time. But it was. I appreciated their whatever, you're right, the passion. Stuff that they were doing, because honestly, they cheered for me when I went out and when I went back in, but during the game they let me have it, and that's pretty good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, and I saw obviously this year when you came back and you rang the bell in the lighthouse, and the love that the fans showed you, much deserved. Just real quick, the biggest difference from all the years you spent with Tom, because you were there with Brady, and then right after you leave, he sort of becomes the next iteration of Brady, the mega international superstar, the 50 touchdowns, and you also were there for prime Brady. So what was the biggest, what would you say was like the ultimate similarity and the biggest difference playing on the same team as two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time?
They're both like just so professional, right? I mean, they know how to have fun. They can joke around and stuff, but I've never seen two guys work harder at their craft, and that goes from, look at what Tom looked like. I mean, everybody shows Tom Brady's draft day pictures, right? And so what he morphed his body into. So obviously in the weight room, on the field, he worked hard, but he also was a guy that just studied the game, figured it out, and figured out how to slow it all down so he could make every throw and every check down and do it. And Peyton was really identical the same way. Two guys that just worked so hard at their craft that they wanted to not only know what their job was, and not only what, the 11 guys on offense, but everybody on the defense was doing as well, so they could play chess with other people, and if they were smarter, they could make them make the wrong move and then exploit them on that. So that's just, I just look at it and I just pinch myself. I laugh about, having those two guys and Bledsoe and Andrew Luck. I mean, my entire career was around unbelievable quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But those two guys in particular were just a different type of breed.
Okay, AV, we're up against it, but real quick, I'm going to fire some things at you and just give me quick little responses, and then we'll let you go. Okay, you ready?
Perfect. Yep.
You still love Disney World down there? You still got a place down there?
We don't. We sold it. My wife goes down 4 times a year, I think, anyway, with the kids. Okay, we might as well still have a home.
All right, you still a good shot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best shot ever. Workouts. How many days? What are we doing for workouts? How many days a week?
9.
Minimum 5. Minimum 5. Most of the time 6. You have to take a day off every once in a while. You got to stay in shape. Like I got a teenage daughter, man. We can't let those boys. We got to let them know, right?
Good call. Wow. Good call. So would you consider yourself a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, or just someone who likes to train?
Yeah.
You're a bodybuilder, aren't you?
Well, it's not about how strong I am anymore, because I feel like if I'm squatting a ton of weight, my back hurts and all that. So now it's more about trying to keep your body in shape and not get fat and look good. So, I mean, if that's a bodybuilder or if that's a guy that's just a 50-year-old guy that doesn't want a dad body, that's me.
There you go, bud. And hey, you had hiccups almost that whole interview, I think, and you got
I've had them the entire time, and I feel terrible. This is the worst interview ever. I apologize.
No, I don't know how you did it, but we heard them. You got through it. You're a good man, buddy. It's great talking to you, man.
Damn right. Thank you, Adam.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Makes the biggest kicks in the snow and does a 17-minute interview with the Hiccups. He's the greatest of all time.
Hey, congrats on your Hall of Fame.
Good luck this week. Ted's already trying to jinx you, saying congrats. I'm not going to jinx you. I'm going to say good luck. Well deserved. You should be the first of the finalists announced when they announce the Hall of Fame candidates this week. So good luck. Thanks for joining us.